with my wife the other day where we were talking about how comparison is the thief of joy. And I was comparing myself, right, as a businessman, as a content creator, and all these verticals to other men that are in the peak. And she said that quote, right? Remember that comparison is the thief of joy.
Okay. I like that. What do you say, like a W for his wife? Yes. You don't usually hear like girls say stuff like that, so that's cool that she said that.
And it's true. It's absolutely true. But it doesn't mean you ignore it. The reason it steals your joy is because it sucks, right? Because you see all the inadequacies, all the disadvantages, all the shortcomings, all the laziness that you may have exhibited in that realm of life when you actually thought you were crushing it. And then it got me thinking. So many guys like to blame things, right? And I hate that in my own life, right? So again, when I talk about this stuff, it's because I go through this crap, right? So I was in my own head, and it's so easy for me to make any sort of excuse. I can make excuses all day long why I'm not where I want to be, but it doesn't matter. And the same thing can be said about you, right? I've heard this excuse so much. Oh, men's self-help advice is ruining you. Self-help advice is ruining you. Come on, bro. It's not that it's ruining you. It's that you're continually improving yourself and you're seeing the standard that could be met, but you're not at that standard yet. So it's not that hustle culture, hard work, or self-help is ruining you. It's that you are opening your eyes to the lack and shortcomings in yourself and your work ethic and what you could be, but you're not. The problem is that you work on that one aspect. Let's say it's the gym, right? Your fitness. You work on that for a little bit because you were highly motivated. Maybe you watched the video like that. So, all right, let's go to the gym. You work on it for a little bit. You don't see the results that you see that other guy have, but that guy has been doing it for 10 years, 15 years.
So you're talking about like when you're trying to get somewhere and you're looking at someone that is already there, basically, right? This person's been there for like 5 years. They've gotten there before you, and you just started, and yet you're comparing yourself to them, but you like just started, and you comparing yourself to people when maybe like some circumstances, some things are different, or they've been doing this for 5 years, you've been doing this for 1, and you're trying to compare these things that like, if you try to really match up, they're not gonna match up. They're not gonna really like, so 2 years, so 3 years, you know what I mean? And it just does more harm than it really does any like helpful sort of thing. I mean, I guess maybe you could like use that as fuel, like comparing yourself, but I don't know.
You quit, you leave, and now you feel more depressed and inadequate than ever, so you're looking for an excuse. Oh, it's hustle culture. They promote a toxic work environment. Bro, it's not that. It's that your eyes are now open. Now you know what the standard is of how you should carry and live on your life with discipline and what that will achieve, but you didn't get to reach it. So what did you do? You quit. You called self-help advice toxic, that it's not good. That's not the problem. The problem is that you are only operating in motivation and when your mental health is on point. But those that win, that truly win in every demographic in life, especially the standards that I was comparing myself to, they work for years in the absence of motivation, in the absence of seeing results. That's why they're all winning now. So what do? You fall into the trap that...
Yeah, I've really started to see that even on my own journey. Like, you can't let motivation be your fuel. Let it be more of a like a whipped cream, but you still gotta have like the milkshake. Like, just don't, because once you let motivation be the reason why you are doing something, motivation is like a freaking roller coaster. That must go down, stop, go up, maybe stays up for a little bit, goes in a freaking loop, go back. You know what I mean? And so when you let that be the only thing that's pushing you forward, you're not gonna go forward a lot, and really building up like that discipline of doing it. Like you're doing it. Of course, if you hate it or something, you don't do it or something, I guess, but when it's like, I'm going to do something, I want to do this, these are the reasons why and whatnot. And when you're like sticking your head to, when you're like, I'm gonna do this, do it. And do what's needed for it. And let that be a more of like a commitment and not a when I feel like it. Because when you feel like it, well, feelings, you know, feelings come and go. So
that I have warned you about for years. You blame others, right? You blame everything else other than your own effort. You even go as low as blaming the content and advice itself that is designed to help propel you and lift you up. Think about that. You'll be like, yo, I'm not the problem. I'm not the problem. It's the self-improvement advice that's designed to self-improve you. Like, bro, what? Don't fall for that advice, bro. Even though it sounds nice, even though you think, you know what?
yeah,
Nah, bro.
like some sort of irony.
Anybody that tells you life, that is just mediocre. They live a mediocre life. And look at their life. Look at every metric. The relationship, the quality of woman they have, the money, how much do they generate, them as a business person, them as a content creator. Look at every metric. Them with their health, them with their simple pleasures. Are they easy to follow? Look at the person that's telling you that, and I guarantee you, it's a mediocre person, right? And you have to understand deception. Most of deception will be 99% truth and 1% lie, right? So the lie will be wrapped up in truth, so it sounds good. And you're like, you know what? That's true. It's false. It's easy. Think about it. It's easy to digest and believe in this weakness, right? Because it's more palpable. It feels better than feeling that you fell short. It feels better than knowing that you were at a disadvantage. It feels better than knowing that you didn't work hard enough and that your performance was inadequate. Again, this all came about because everybody likes to say comparison is a thief of joy, and it is. It's not a bad thing. Right? It just opens your eyes into your shortcomings. I'll give you a great example before I close this off. So obviously we have our Alway company. It's the biggest one we've ever done. The investment has been millions, and it's all out of my own pocket, right? Nobody self-funded. But it's a tech company. It's expensive, so we will need outside capital. And I was doing a little bit of research. You know how much VC capital goes to Latino founders? Less than 1%. We're talking billions and billions of dollars, and less than 1% go to Latino founders. And then after looking more into it, some of the biggest funds, the big boys, they look into your qualifications, right? Most of them won't give you money if you didn't graduate from Stanford. If you didn't graduate from some sort of Ivy League. I'm talking disadvantage on disadvantage. Doesn't matter. And it'll never matter. We can talk all day long about content creation, right? And the peak of the mountain and what you need to do to get there, right? So, yeah, compare yourself. You want to be an athlete? You want to be a doctor, a lawyer? Compare yourself against the best. And then look at your own life. Yes, it will steal your joy. But that's because you're going to open your eyes as to just how maybe disadvantaged you are or how inadequate you are in your work ethic. And that's fine. Because that means now you put a plan in place. All right, what do I got to do? Even if it means you have to work harder, what do I got to do to get where I want to be? That should be your mentality. The lives.
Yeah, wow. So like instead of seeing comparison as like, oh, comparison steals your joy, so don't do it, you're just gonna feel bad and blah. It's more of a like, do it because it's gonna show you, because it is gonna show you where you're at and what you're doing. Because even though it's not a thing of, I guess when it came to putting things together, it's like, it's not like, oh, trying to make it make sense, but more of like just keeping it here, and you're like, here's what I'm doing where I'm at, here's what they're doing where they're at. And instead of trying to like put those together to try to, make it seem like you are there or something, it's like you just keep it at that difference of like, they're here, I'm not. What do I gotta do? And letting that like that dissatisfaction guide you, Let that be like, yeah, you know, I don't like that. Well, what am I not doing? Yeah. You're looking at the sun today. How was that?
That's nice.